Give it up for day 90. All right, this is day 90, guys, of becoming King Ballsack. So this is probably gonna be one of the longer videos, honestly, but there's a lot we have to talk about, guys. It's 90 days. The whole Rin situation, the Rin just posted. Actually, let's get into that, guys. So it's not about really picking sides, right? At the end of the day, we're all doing this journey. We're all part of this Semen journey, right? To better ourselves. So you don't have to agree with everything he's saying, right? But and this is where I want you guys, right? Like for me, it's like most of the stuff Rin says, I do agree. There's a few things where I'm like, okay, but like at the end of the day, it's like you want to take the most important things from him, implement them how you can, or rest in those beliefs, the ones that are going to benefit you, and the ones that you know are true, also from your objective reality, right? And the other ones, you can discard, like it's okay. But the most important thing, guys, and this is where I was like, I'm telling you, it's like, I don't know, it's something about niggas where it's like, if you watch anime, it just makes you. But he talked about Naruto, right? And Naruto's one of my favorite fucking characters. But the whole Sage Mode thing, right? Remember when Naruto was learning Sage Mode, he had to use the toad oil, right? And I thought that was genius because the toad oil, you can think of that as retention or any other high vibrational activity. You need that in the beginning to get into sage mode, right? Think of this high vibrational state when you're in retention, right? That's sage mode, right? The goal is to basically stay in that all the time, right? Now, the problem is with us, and it's something we've subconsciously manifest is when we relapse, that benefit goes away. And what Rin's is saying is it's not that the retention is giving you those powers, right? What you're actually doing is you're subconsciously using the law of attraction. Anyone that's seen Bleach, slight spoilers, but you know the guy in the manga that like anything he imagines, he quite literally manifests in reality. Basically, that's literally the law of attraction, right? That's basically what you're doing, right? So what happens is you have a belief that swim retention gives you the glow, it gives you the female attraction, and that manifests literally and that happening. But through the whole biochemical process, the body retaining more testosterone. That's how like the science and stuff. But all of that, and this was big for me because I've always been a very logical thinker. The science of all that is basically the law of attraction, the spiritual laws. That's the most important thing. And then under that is like the actual laws of our world. So basically, and this it blew my mind because I thought, I'm really big into like the health space. So how there's a bunch of diets. One person says this is healthy, the other person says that healthy. It's healthy to them because of the law of attraction. Like they believe it and that makes it work. And then you can find the science of any reason why vegetables are healthy or why they're not healthy or whatever. We're not really going to get into that. But the whole total analogy, it made so much sense. I was like, oh, yeah. Because, and I agree with him too. It's like, remember, guys, it's not like, some retention is not giving you the powers. It's honestly only the beginning, literally, right? Because how I think of it too, right? As someone that understands like prana, light force, and chakras, because in the East they call it prana, chakra, or whatever. We call it frequency, energy, but it's the same thing they're talking about. But when you're in a high vibrational state, in my interpretation, if you're able to manifest those things more and more. So when you're in a low vibrational state, you can't do that. So when nothing's bad is gonna happen to you when you relapse, like that is true. But what is gonna happen is you're probably gonna get kicked out of sage mode. But I think if you, and that's why I'm like, oh, here's another thing. If anyone's watched Tower of God, you'll get it. But any problem you have, any desire, any belief, just keep climbing the tower, keep retaining. You'll get everything you want and more as a consequence. Not of retention, but the alignment that you'll gain from this whole process. So you don't have to have all the answers. Remember, we are all gods. We're not separate from God. So everyone's gonna have their own different interpretation. Here, boom. But you got to think the things that you want to do, right? And you just keep, you walk on that path. Because see, for me, it's like, yeah, money and all this stuff. But for me, it's like my actual thing. I want to be one with the divine, like reach that enlightenment state because I feel like retention already makes it dangerous, right? It's like sage mode, right? But fucking six, like when Naruto gets the six path power, then he combines that with sage mode and then fucking nine tails chakra mode. Like that's basically like that's when you're enlightened. Like your ego's been surrendered. You still have your identity, but you're not bound to it, so you can just move and operate a certain day. Because I feel like with the whole like Rin's not saying that You should, I mean, because I do remember watching other videos, and honestly, guys, I don't watch enough probably retention content because I feel like I just don't need to. Like this is now like this is my default state, you know. It's like fucking Super Saiyan, you know, blue. How like you know it used to be Super Saiyan, now it's blue or whatever. But you know, Sage mode's become the default state. But you want to get that state, you know, even higher and higher and higher. Cause see, for me now, like the new thing for me is like fasting. Anyone that's not fasting, I highly, highly, highly recommend you fast. I mean, the amplifier of fasting is basically six past powers. I'm not kidding. It's like if you can fast and you retain, that's basically that gives you six past powers, right? Remember, that's gonna give you more access to the law of attraction, you know, law of assumption, all those greater, higher spiritual laws, which is how you actually manifest things. And that's the most important thing Rin was kind of saying, you know, like retention can't be greater than the law of it, you know, those more, it can't be greater. And I was like, I agree with him. Like that makes perfect sense. But I feel like there's some people that are still like confused by that. And that's the thing. You don't want to penalize retention. Remember, it's an amplifier, right? It's an amplifier to your alignment. Because for me, I never had a problem with those things. But I started doing retention as a consequence of being aligned. As I got really aligned more, like a lot closer to God, I started meditating. I was naturally retaining. That's what I was saying to you guys. I had to find out what day I was on because I was like, oh, what day am I on? And it was like, you know, 30 plus. Now I'm just consciously aware I'm doing it, but I was doing it as a consequence already, you know, of alignment. Now some of you guys are probably doing it because like you have these bad habits and stuff that you're trying to kick. And that's okay, but you don't want to just don't just say like, oh, you don't do those things anymore, but then still think about those things. That's another thing Rim was saying. It's like, don't do that because then you're just gonna, it's gonna be hard for you. Because for me, it's like this is my default state, and my goal now is just to get a higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, you know, vibration, till it's so high as a consequence. You know, I get everything I want and more, and that's why I'm like, that's the actual reason retention is so powerful. There's, you know, I can explain the actual benefits, but that's what Rin was saying too. All those benefits come as a subconscious, you know, consequence of the law of attraction. Because that part, because right now it's like you realize there's a lot to the whole spiritual thing, right? But you want to be like balanced, right? That's why it's important you work out. It's important you eat right, but it's also important, you know, you learn about the stuff. Like there's a lot of aspects to like learning about all this. So you guys are confused or like, I don't know what to do. Like, you know, I get that, you know, just start small and then gradually build up, you know. It's like think of Naruto, like, you know, he couldn't summon one child clone. Now you can do 1,000, you know. That's what the time skip was for, and then, you know, the sage mode training and all that. But now, why I will say that, like, yeah, like, guys, like, if you relapse, you're not gonna get hit by a car. Although, honestly, because my brother, I didn't relapse, but you guys will know if I relapse. I'm not, but if I do, I'll tell you guys, right? But and it's how you relapse. I think that's the most important thing because he did it, you know, to fortunately the pixels, but the actions he did after, and that's why I'm like, it's not worth to relapse, guys. Because even if you think bad's gonna happen, you're gonna probably do some dumb shit that are gonna lead to bad things because the vibrational state is lower. So it's not that the relapse caused bad things to happen. It's just you were in a lower vibrational state, so you started manifesting, you know, bad things, which is I guess basically kind of the same thing. But yeah, that's how I understand it now too. But that those are my thoughts basically on like the Rin situation. If more comes up, I'm gonna keep yapping. But yeah, guys. Now let's kind of talk about, you know, it's been 90 days. What are some changes? How am I feeling? Honestly, guys, like the best I've ever felt. Like I mean the mental clarity from fasting, the discipline aspect too. Because remember, guys, like this is not easy, right? It's the JJK heavenly restriction in exchange for not, you know, releasing something that like it's easy to do. And remember, everyone else does this thing, right? If you had to quantify it, everyone does this. It's like no one's forcing you to do this. I'm like, that's where the power comes from because you can't do retention for validation. And maybe some people do, but you can't. You will not get a really monumental streak if you do this shit for validation. And that's what you learn about yourself on retention. All the things you like to do, going to the gym, eat and right, you're gonna quickly learn if those things you really fuck with and you do it for you or you're doing it for validation. Because if you're doing it for validation, it might work, but it's just you won't be able to sustain it long enough. Because now I know I'm someone that works out. There's no like it's not about a bitch. It's not about like I do it for me. Like it helps keeps me sane. I can channel this energy, you know, into the gym. You know, it's how you know. That's why it's so important to me. the eating right too. Like I get to do those things. It's a non-negotiable for me because I know like for me it's like okay, this I'm trying to stay in the six pass mode or the sage mode, whatever, as often as possible. So I got to eat right and do these things to stay in that high vibrational state. Like I don't want to get out of that state, but I will say the standards of me just like consistently do things. It's like through the roof. The mental clarity, like guys, like at work, especially when I'm fasted, right? When you got the retention amplifier, the alignment, and the fasting amplifier, it's like you're six past Naruto. I mean, like for like hours, I could focus at work, like no problem, no phone, boom, boom. My coworkers they think I'm crazy by the output I'm doing. Like I'm not making this up. Like they thought I was crazy with no caffeine. That's like no caffeine, and that's where I'm like, guys, like there's still like there's so much self-limiting beliefs we have and we're not even aware of. But keep retaining, keep climbing the tower, and you're gonna figure them all out, and they're gonna slowly start to go away because it's like for me, like I'll give you guys the biggest one, right? Fasted training. Everyone's gonna tell you you gotta train, you gotta eat something before. You really don't. You can do either or, but remember, it's not about whether it's before, after, or whatever. It's really what you believe. Because for me, like I believe that training fasted puts you in the strongest state possible, and my lifts, reflect that. But what we're gonna saying is it's not because, the science of whatever with insulin. No, it's because of the belief. And that's gonna manifest as, oh, you're more insulin sensitive, you're more or whatever. The science reasons will come, but as a manifest to like the actual belief of I have with fasted training. But guys, like I'm hitting PRs on leg day. I was into like a 30-hour fast. I hit leg day and I'm hitting PRs like it's no problem. I'm like, I'm moving weight I've never moved before while I'm fasted. And people online would tell me, oh, it's not optimal. Oh, it's not going to work.